Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Doug?
Hello.
What's crack-a-lackin', dude?
Oh, just trying to remember how to put things together.
Hey, you know what? Well, we're recording right now, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hi, Patrick.
Yeah. I had to do the same thing because it's been, I don't know, 3 months since I had done one of these things.
Nice.
Dude, it's so... I was trying to turn the board on. I'm like, it's not coming on. It's not... Oh, I didn't even have it plugged in. And then I had to find a memory card for it.
That might help. Yeah. Do I sound okay? Because I got these new. I went to the wireless earbuds now. All of a sudden.
Okay.
And so, do I hear? Oh, do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound fine, man. You sound
Okay.
good. Yeah.
I haven't talked to anybody on the phone at all today since I got them. So.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, welcome to a long-awaited, I guess. I don't know. Nobody's reached out to me in a long time to see what the hell's going on, but welcome back to a Lone Angler podcast.
Well, it's funny because, like, you would think after doing this for as long as we've done it, because I took my break and nobody really reached out and said anything. It was like if I was talking to somebody, they might bring it up. But yeah, it's just like, oh, I guess he's taking a break for a while. He'll be back eventually.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder. And this is what I've been struggling with. I guess this is why I haven't had the urge to pick up the microphone and do anything with this, because it seems like podcasting is everywhere and it's almost like oversaturated. But then again, a person can say, well, if that was the case, then movies would be oversaturated. You know what I mean?
Movies, YouTube, music,
right.
TV shows, everything. Yeah.
Right. So I kind of pushed that off to the side, and I've boiled it down to this, man. Ever since I decided to step away from the ice fishing pro staff business deal, whatever you want to call it, and kind of step away from conventional angling for the most part and focusing on this fly fishing, like I've just lost interest. I've kind of changed, so to speak. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about tonight, was change. You've changed.
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
What's going on with Doug?
I don't know. I mean, what do you in what way? I guess which road do you want to go down? Because there's a lot that's changed. When do you want to since when are we talking this change?
Well, okay, take for instance like podcasting. I know you've changed quite a bit. You don't do live streams anymore.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly my call. It was 100% my call. But the problem with that, and I'm sure most of the people that listen to this probably listen to mine, so they kind of know the story. But for those few that only listen to yours,
thanks.
That means they just love you that much.
I know,
and they haven't transferred over to the dark side. The thing is, I used to get, 5 to 20,000 views during a 2-hour show.
Right.
On Facebook and Facebook's gone through tons of algorithm changes. They've gone through notification changes. How you're notified when somebody you like puts something out, timeline change, just all these different changes. And I went from that 5 to 20,000 views an episode to, I think the low was 80 something.
Like under 100.
Not Under 100. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and it wasn't even like I went from 5,000 to, 4,500 over
Yeah, it
a
wasn't a
month
slow
or
taper.
so to not at the least. It was a 3 month. You're not getting over 500.
Hmm.
And I mean, this was still when people were, um, it wasn't complete lockdowns, but people were still, you know, not fully back into the swing of things. And, I finally, after, I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years of dealing with it, I finally just said, you know what? It's just not worth it for me to invest the time to set up everything, to do all the things that you need to do for live stream, and also the money
Hmm.
for live streaming. And I mean, it was about $450 a year for me to live stream, and it wasn't paying, right.
Right.
And in good conscience, I wasn't going to seek out sponsors,
Right.
because how do I tell a sponsor, yeah, you're only going to get 100 views here, and of course the audio too. But the big thing with my show was people wanted to be a sponsor of the show because they're being seen by thousands of people
Right.
that night, right? Their logo and me talking about them and this and that and the other. So, I could have just kept going with it, like, yeah, no, everything's good, everything's fine, everything's dandy, and none of them ever asked me for a single number. None of them.
Right.
I have never been asked for a single count at all. But it just wasn't worth it anymore for me to do it. And the only thing that I could find in order to boost those numbers up is you have to pay for countless ads, thousands and thousands of dollars a month
Hmm.
in ads.
Right.
And I don't have that money, obviously. So I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to focus on just being an audio only podcast. Maybe I'll videotape some podcasts here and there, maybe go live at a special event.
Right.
If I go somewhere, if I was, if we would have had, well, maybe not Lake of the Woods because that was utter chaos. And, but, if I go to a special event and there's a, good internet, and we all decide that, hey, I think this would be a good thing to go live between me and the guests and the place we're at, it's a different thing. But I would just rather sit here, talk with somebody. And I've also gone back to trying to get people in a studio. That way we can sit across the table from each other face to face, read the body languages, have a good in-person conversation between me, the guest, and the microphones.
The way it used to be.
Yeah, the way I started out.
Hmm.
I mean, I started out literally sitting in the exact same spot I am sitting right now with Greg Fisher from Veto's Bait and Tackle, sitting 3 feet from each other, talking into a single microphone.
Hmm.
And we had an awesome conversation. So yeah, I mean, it's just the live streams. Just it is. There's a lot of people that are still doing it, and I know why they do it. That it's not necessarily for the numbers. It's just for that little bit of extra exposure, and to be able to take those and turn them into different shorts and TikToks and
Don't get me
short
fucking
content.
started on
And
shorts, dude.
well, it is effective in growing your platform. It 100% is undeniable. It is 100% proven, right?
I
But
get it. I get it.
it's a completely different platform. Like,
yes.
putting out the shorts, that's going to capture a crowd. Out of that crowd, you might get 1% that actually listens to your podcast.
Right.
Right. Like it depends on what your shorts are. Some people take like the funniest clip out of your podcast. Well, then they listen to the podcast, they get bored, and then subscribe or don't subscribe at all.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, it can definitely help grow it, but at the same time, I'm also a one-man show with a full-time job and a wife and 2 dogs, and I like doing other things. So for me to sit here and take a live recording and go through every single minute of that to pick out the 15 seconds that might make a good TikTok or a reel. I'm not doing that.
Right.
So, for me, I've always, the podcast for me has always been about teaching people. That's what I've always been about, whether it was a podcast, my old YouTube stuff, the old Tried and the TV stuff, this, that, and the other. It's always been about teaching people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and along that came along the pro staffs and the this and the that and, whatever you want to call that whole road. And for me, the pro staffs have always, just like everybody else, has always been to get in the industry, right? Like people, you get into the pro staffs to be in the industry, to work your way up in the industry.
Right.
And now I have reached a point to where I've basically dropped all my pro staffs too, except for I'm still on Norfin. Mm-hmm. That's the only one that I'm still on, like contract signed. But I am now on the creator team with Eagle Claw, Trocar, all that stuff, which is an actual paid position.
Yes.
Which is so now I'm starting to reap the benefits of over a decade of being on pro staffs and putting out content here and there and whatnot. So, it's just
achievement unlocked.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could say that. Yeah. I mean, it's weird because it's like, when they approached me too, I didn't even approach them. I mean, I've been talking with them for a while. I've had Eric Ellie on the show a couple times, and he was on the virtual show too. And, he approached me and he said, "Hey, I want to bring you on to our content team." He's like, I know what you're doing. I like what you're doing. I know how you think, this, that, and the other. So I've reached this point. I was thinking about it after he came to me with it, and I'm like, okay, this is what I've been working for.
Right.
It was a really weird feeling, right? Because, you're on the pro staffs and you're still paying for most of the stuff. Sure, you might get some stuff for free, but everybody works to be in the industry and make, most people think they're going to make a living, which is false, but, to make some money. And it's like, all of a sudden now it's like, okay, I'm there now.
Right.
Oh yeah. So I don't need to be on a half a dozen pro staffs. Right. What I need to do now is focus on Norfin when I need to focus on Norfin, obviously. But now I need to focus on Eagle Claw and really do a good job because they are paying me money now.
Right.
And in order to keep that going, I just don't post a quick picture with a hashtag and they overlook you anyway. And they just send everybody out the same emails once a month or whatever it is, that a lot of these staffs are on. I mean, I still get emails from a company that I staffed for that I don't technically recognize myself as a staff member anymore.
Right.
And it's like, they don't even know.
Right.
Or probably care. And I talk to people, they go, yeah, I've been getting the emails from them for the past 20 years. Mm-hmm. And I haven't done anything for 20 years. And my discount code still works, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, shit. It's like there's a certain big company that once you're on there, I don't want to give away the whole thing, but you're on so you get a certain discount. And once you're in there for life. They never take you off.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been on quite a few different pro staff teams or pro staff companies and stuff like that. And I've appreciated the opportunity and it has led me some places. Stuff. But for me, my decision was a couple of things. My health, got that under control, still working on it, but we're good. But I needed that time for that. And the second thing was me personally, and I don't know if I just get wrapped up in my own head or whatnot, but my relevance in the industry in itself. I started looking at myself, I'm not a guide. Okay. I'm not on TV anymore. I'm 49 years old. And what more could I bring to the table?
49 years worth of knowledge, dude.
But it's the same knowledge that I have learned over the years from, you know, the Linders, the Brosdals, the Gens, the, you know, whomever. It's the same stuff. And
yeah, but if you look at it this way, then the only people that should be talking about techniques or whatever, if we want to talk about techniques, are the oldest people still alive that have talked about that technique.
Right, I get that part of
it. Nobody else should be talking about snap jigging other than Al Linder. Nobody.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about me and how I think. Like, what could I put? What words could I put to it that would make it relevant? It's already been spoken about. I mean, and that's just how I think. Like, if I'm not adding to something, then why do I need to waste my time with it?
Because you're not wasting your time. You're reaching people that other people aren't reaching.
I don't know, man. In the fishing industry, how big it is, it's actually quite small.
Yeah, but we're not me and you, we're not talking to the fishing industry. We're not talking to the fishing industry. We're talking to everybody outside the fishing industry that fishes. That's who we're talking to. We're not.
Right.
I'm not talking
That's what
to
I'm saying.
Al Linder.
If you look up 100 articles on snap jig and walleyes, you're going to find all these articles and what makes mine different from anybody else's. Oh, I use a rod that's 2 inches shorter. Big fucking deal.
Maybe you're giving out the exact same information, right, as Al Linder. The exact same thing to a T, or saying exactly the same words, but Al Linder is not reaching the person that you might reach, and only you might reach. You might have reached that person first before they even knew what snap jigging was.
I still think that web is pretty small.
There's a lot more fishermen out there than just the industry.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the fishing community as a whole. It's big, but it's not. And with the internet, like I said, what relevance do I have? Even though I haven't put a whole bunch of time into my YouTube, because like you were saying, I have other interests. I don't want to be editing videos for 40 hours a week. I just don't want to be doing that. Instagram, all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to do that. You go out, you fish, you go home, you edit in a half an hour, scrub through it, do some fish catches, throw it out there.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess. I know. I'm not interested in it anymore. I feel me personally, my relevance is insignificant. When there's a million other people just like me that are younger and more full of life and less bitter.
I would rather, well, that's part of it. I would rather have you just say that you're no longer interested in filming than I would say your relevance has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you're still relevant as long as you have the knowledge, because you might reach that one person that has never heard of snap jigging ever, and you're the first one to tell him about it. And maybe he never is going to hear about it if it wasn't for you. So even though he might hear from you and then do more research and read the 1,000 articles on it and watch the million videos on it, you were the one that introduced him to that or her, sorry folks, that you introduced them to it, and now they're going to start snap jigging because of you. That's where your relevance comes in. As far as your passion to do it, that's a whole nother thing, and that's perfectly fine.
I never thought of it that way, Doug. I never thought of it that way. I just painted myself into a corner and figured, he's a fucking old dude. Nobody's going to fucking listen to him. It's the same regurgitated shit that's been put out there for the last 30 years. And that's the way I was thinking.
And I mean, that's true. That's 100% true. Yeah, we're just talking about the same shit that we've been talking about since it's been talked about, whatever the subject, whatever the technique is.
Yeah. But the
Right?
only
I mean,
thing
that's
I
true.
can't help you with is downloading the latest firmware for your Garmin Live Scope.
Right. And I couldn't even help you turn on a fucking Garmin Live Scope because I don't know how. I don't. I don't know. I don't know where the power button is. I'd have to take a minute and figure it out.
Right.
So, but yeah, as far as relevance, no, you're always relevant. You'll be relevant till the day you die to that person that has never heard of that technique. Or maybe you say it in a slightly different way. I can't tell you how many times I heard and watched videos on shiver minnow, on the shiver minnow technique.
Mm-hmm.
I finally understood it when I actually got Gary Parsons in person and asked him, how do you do it? And he broke it down. He put on a clinic. All of a sudden, there was 20. It started just me asking him. The next thing you know, there's 20 people standing around while he is telling you what you're supposed to be feeling in the rod and the line and the this and that and the emotion. I mean, it was crazy. And I couldn't understand it until he finally broke it down to the point where I could not understand it.
Okay.
And I went out and I had a little bit of success. Whether it was dumb luck and the fish was just biting and I could have thrown it out there with my hand, who knows, but still.
Right. It gave you that confidence.
I finally understood it. And it took him saying it this way, which I've seen him on his show talk about it and videos talk about it a bunch of different times until I actually was able to ask him and he broke it down a completely different way. It was shiver minnows for dummies, basically. That's when I finally understood it. So no matter how many times the thing has been talked about, it doesn't matter. All it takes is that one time, that one way from that one person, and then you get it.
Interesting. No, just a little side quest here. The shiver minnow and the snap jigging. Is this like a jigworm Ned rig situation?
No. No, because shiver minnows, your snap jigging is exactly what it is. Bait hits the bottom, you snap it up.
Or I didn't mean snap jigging. I'm talking jig wrapping. Vertical jig wrap
is no, because that's shiver minnowing is a technique used with that bait. One of the multiple techniques you can use with that bait. You can snap jig with a jig wrap.
Can you snap jig with a quiver minnow?
Well, a shiver minnow is a technique.
Oh, it's a technique. Okay.
Yeah, shiver minnow is a technique. Technically, it's a bait. There's a certain bait they use. Those guys use the moonshine minnow, but shiver minnowing is a technique more than it is a bait.
All right. Well, I'll Google it later and have a read on it, I guess. But going back to the relevance thing and whatnot, I was listening to you and kind of thinking about this whole fly fishing journey. And one of the people that I lean on the most is a local guy here, and he is much older, and he's basically given me the ins and outs, so to speak, on fly fishing. So to say that this gentleman is, late 60s, mid to late 60s, is relevant to me at 49 in my fly fishing journey because I've never done it before. So that kind of puts what you said in perspective for me in my own personal experience right now that I'm living in it.
He could also be 22. I'm telling you the same information.
Very, very much so. And I have picked up a lot of things from younger fly anglers on the internet. Matter of fact, one of my favorite guys is a guy out of Duluth, and he's just an absolute maniac of a caster, and he ties giant flies for muskies and shit, and he's much younger than I am, but he's heavily influencing my thought process on predator fishing with a fly rod.
Yeah.
So
you want to know when you're no longer relevant?
Yeah.
It's when you're no longer speaking.
Well, yeah, true. I haven't authored any books or many articles.
Well, I'm just saying, the moment you stop giving out that information, whether it's speaking or video or written, whatever it is, that's when you're no longer relevant.
Right. Well, and the whole reason I brought up the relevance thing is not only in fishing, but I was kind of feeling that way in the podcasting community. Like, the shit that I talk about, is it even relevant? You know? And after just listening to what you were just saying there, the moment I'm not relevant is when I'm not speaking. That's kind of maybe shed some new light on this, and maybe I should be firing this up and not worrying about making sure I get 1 or 2 out a week, and maybe being excited about when I do have something to talk about, whether it be an adventure with Crafty or you or on my own or that type of thing. And maybe that's what's been lacking in why the lone angler has been silent.
Here you go, folks. If you want to hear more, Patrick, let him know. Seriously.
Well, I'm not looking for sympathy comments or anything like that.
No. It's not. It's got nothing to do with sympathy. This, if people are listening to this and they want you to make more episodes, let him know. Shoot him a DM on Instagram. Send him an email at whatever his email is.com. Let him know, dude. Keep making episodes. Tell him what kind of episodes you like to hear. Is it where he just rambles on aimlessly into the microphone by himself?
Yeah.
If so, that's cool. If it's the ones where you have guests on, that's cool. If it's a mixture of both, that's cool. But that's something that us as podcasters, even big names, they don't hear anything unless it's hate. Oh, that guest sucks.
That is true. That is
that
true.
Kind of thing. Big podcasters, I've heard giant podcasters, giant ones, go, we don't get any emails unless somebody's pissed, but we don't get any encouragement.
But that also means that they have listened.
Well, yeah, but you can also look at your downloads and go, oh yeah, I got this many listens. But
well, and that's something I used to do. I used to reach out, when I was on Facebook. Hey man, anybody want me to talk about anything? And I haven't done that in a long, long time. Maybe that's something I should do. Because it is hard, man. It is hard to sit here and think of what to talk about next week. Especially for a guy that doesn't really do a whole lot right now.
Well, it's extremely tough. And that's why, the last few weeks have been a podcast, and then not a podcast the next week, and a podcast, just missing a week here and there. One was because last week I didn't have one. Well, whatever. We had to reschedule to this week, so he's actually coming in this week. But I reached a point after I took my break from podcasting for 2.5 months. I'm going to make a podcast when I have a podcast, when it's something I want to talk about, when it's someone I want to talk to. And if I go a week without doing an episode, it's okay.
Right.
I don't have any sponsors right now. If somebody does want to hit us up for some sponsorships, let us know, me and Patrick. But, I don't have any sponsors that I have to keep happy.
Right.
I don't owe anybody an episode because they're paying me to talk about a product. So when I put out an episode, I put an episode that I want to talk to that person about that thing.
Right.
So, and it's weird because it'd be nice to make money again. Yeah, it would. But at the same time, it's freeing as hell because it's like, I don't feel bad if I don't put out an episode.
Right. And I think we've talked about this in many of the work truck drives to Brainerd. I remember telling you, I just realized one day that, I love my podcast. I really do. I like everything about it for the most part. But in the beginning, I put this pressure on me to do, minimum 2 a week. If you can get 3, even better. All right, that third one we'll do an unhooked where I have the freedom. I allow myself the freedom to talk about whatever. And those are super fun. I really started liking those. But then I was just like, you know what? I realized that, Patrick, this is a hobby. And that's okay. Put them out when you want to put them out. The whole, you got to be this YouTube mentality drifted over into podcasting of consistent. You better be consistent. Drop.
Right.
For that, the undying quest for monetization. And then when you get monetized, you're put underneath this giant thumb of you better not do this, better not do that, blah, blah, blah. In the way YouTube is, it's crazy, man, because they're changing rules all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And do I want this podcast to have 100,000 followers? I don't really know. I can't say yes and I can't say no. Part of me wants to say no because then I put this ungodly pressure on myself to make sure that there's 100,000 people that like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Having a low number, it's like, yeah, well, I like you guys, and I'm not saying I don't appreciate the following and the downloads that I have for this show. I really, really do. But with that being said, it's also kind of nice to be like, hey, you know what? I really haven't been doing shit for the last 2 months because I don't really ice fish anymore, and I really don't know enough about fly fishing to talk about it, nor talk about fly tying. So, and my newest hobby of photography, I know absolutely jack shit about. So I ain't going to jump on here and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to record anything.
And this is where I've told you before in our truck conversations, this is an opportunity to talk about it and share your journey into it and through it. Your photography. Why haven't you done an episode on unless you did and I can't remember.
No, I
but
haven't.
You do. Yeah, you just do episodes about it.
Well,
I got into photography. This is the camera and the lens I got and blah, blah, blah. And I'm learning this and I'm learning that. I went out and snapped a few photos. They turned out, they don't have to be long episodes. It's just bringing people through your journey, which also will help you become better because you want to become better. So you can give out that information to people.
Right.
Now,
I get that. But at the same, I'm kind of doing that on Instagram right now because photography is such a visual thing. That's what like I said, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm posting pictures up there. I'm letting people know, hey man, this is what I was shot on. This is the lens I used, blah, blah, blah. And, hoping for somebody to jump in and be like, hey man, that's pretty cool, but try this next time. Hasn't happened yet. It might not. But with that being said though, there's some things that I just kind of want to keep to myself as I stumble through life. I don't know why. That's just one of those things. Like, I just want it to be my thing. I don't want to, I'll share it a little bit, on Instagram or whatever. But as far as talking about it, I probably won't that much unless I'm like, hey, I'm really doing some cool shit with the camera. Go check it out on my Instagram. That might be the most of it. Until I start selling $1,000 prints and, I got Peter McKinnon giving me fucking hearts on Instagram, then maybe I'll talk some shit. But until then, I will not.
Oh, it's not talking shit. It's not talking like you know
I
what
just
you're
meant
doing.
it in general terms, trying to spice it up a little bit,
Yeah. No, I get it. At the same time, it's, you're bringing people through your journey.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people like to hear that. A lot of people.
And that thought has crossed my mind as far as tying flies and this fly fishing thing. And not hunting. I don't ever want to be on a fly fishing staff ever. I just don't. But I've thought about that. I've actually set up my phone and recorded myself tying flies and watching it back and going, this is absolutely hilarious. Because the first time I did it, I was tying up some sort of streamer and it just wasn't going right. I cut it all off the hook and I forgot that I had the phone was recording. Restarted and it was utter chaos. But when I watched it back, it was hilarious. And I should have put that up. but I didn't. I ended up deleting it like a dumbass.
Yeah.
After I deleted it, I was like, I could have done a voiceover deal and
Could have.
done some funny shit with that. And maybe that's what I'll explore next. But I got rid of my GoPros. I can always use the Sony A6000, I suppose, and set it up.
You can, but it's not bad. I was actually messing around with my A6000 with my Sigma 16 millimeter on there, just like you have. I was just messing with that earlier.
It's fun.
I might do a little bit of filming with that. It's still great quality because that lens is super, super nice.
Oh, dude, I love that 16 mil. It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, this Saturday, I went to this GigaCon, it's called, put on by Paul Bunyan Communications. It's a video game tournament and cosplay, and they had a bunch of vendors there, like 3D printing stuff and different industries and tech schools and stuff from around. And it was really cool, man. I'd never been to any place like that before. And it's inspired me to go to a bigger one down in the cities. And it was funny because I was telling my cousin that I was going to go to this. We're huge Star Wars fans, and we are planning within the next year or two to go out to the big Star Wars con in California. I believe it's in San Diego. My brother lives near San Diego. Got a place to stay, and I want to go check it out.
Go to Star Wars Celebration in Japan next year.
Japan.
It was in England. It was in England this year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Last year, I think it was in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was in California. One of the two. Although I tried to watch it because they broadcast it from on YouTube or whatever live.
Yeah.
And all it is a bunch of panel shit. They get the actors go up there, talk about this, that, and the other, blah blah blah.
Yep.
It's like I want to know what goes on outside of the panels.
Right.
Like what's going on out in the lobby? Like what are the are there? I'm sure they're selling stuff, but it's like what's going on out there.
Even going to that big Comic-Con in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called, Comic-Con. It's huge. It's absolutely ginormous. That's where they have the big stage set up, and they come out and they talk about all the new Marvel movies, and they have the actors, and there's cosplay from all over the place. Dude, it was so cool. But what I was saying was I brought the 6000, brought the 16 mil, and then I borrowed a lens from a buddy, that 70 to 200 Sony G Master. Full frame, and I snapped some pics with that. Dude, I should be buying full frame lenses, even just because I honestly can see myself in 2 to 3 years eventually getting a full frame high megapixel camera. I'm talking like a Sony R series, like a A7R3.
Well, that's about A7 $3,544,000.
Oh, I realize that. I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah.
The other reason was I printed off for Ellen's mom for her Mother's Day 3 pictures that I took with this 6000 and the 16 millimeter. I had them printed at Walgreens. Just, it was cheap. I just wanted to see. And I was super proud of those pictures. They turned out amazing. And I framed them up. I did an 8x10 and then 2 8x8s. I framed them. She'll get them on Thursday. She has no idea.
Nice.
One was color, and then 2 8x8s were black and white, and they absolutely turned out awesome. Matter of fact, the lady at Walgreens was like, "Wow, your pictures are beautiful. Are you a professional?" I was like, "No, ma'am, I am not. I am not. I did have the camera in aperture priority, and I played in the editing machine for a little bit with these. That's it. But it kind of was like, man, I really had a lot of fun printing those pictures instead of just uploading them digitally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really cool to actually physically hold a moment that I captured with this camera. And I was like, Man, I would love to do more of this on bigger stuff. Metal
You know what?
canvases and stuff like that. And it's like, man, I could see myself going, you know what, dude? It's time. Grab the 4Gs and let's go get yourself a full frame, high resolution camera.
Did I tell you what I'm going to do this year as far as cameras, like while I'm fishing and whatnot?
No, but that's a good segue in. Are you a professional podcaster?
Yes, technically.
Well, we will get into that later, but
I have made money off of podcasting, and actually a decent amount. So yes, I am.
I have too, but I'm not going to call myself professional.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I would borderline. I would have no problem being labeled as a professional podcaster. We'll just say I've made that much money off of it. I've made enough money. We'll say this. I've made enough money where, yeah, I'm a professional. I'm not making money right now, but in the past, yes, I was a professional podcaster at one point. No, here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'll bring my normal camera with, get, the nice pretty shots and all that shit. But what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to go online and I'm going to buy some disposable cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like $20 a crack. Big whoop, right? Or maybe no, they're like $20 for two, I think.
Disposable film cameras, right?
Right. Yep. Kodak, cool shots or whatever they are. And what I'm going to do throughout this summer is I'm going to take a bunch of photos using that and get them printed out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah. We're going to take it old school.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll still have my other cameras with so I can get all the pretty high quality, but there's just something about the old film cameras that just gives it a certain look that I think is just cool.
Oh, 100%. Hey, I don't know if I've told you, but there's a cool YouTube channel called In an Instant. And it's all devoted to instant camera photography and instant cameras.
Oh, Polaroid stuff?
Polaroid stuff. Yeah. And it's legit. There's some really cool shit out there. It's very, very niche, but it's really, really cool. And it's funny because when I was over at my parents' house, I asked my mom, because she used to have a couple of these small, they call them digicams now, but back in the day, they were digital cameras. But they were 3-4 megapixel deals.
Do you have that one?
I do. I do.
All right, because I got to, when you sent me that picture, I was like, oh, I got one kind of sort of like it.
It's a Canon ELPH SD200. Okay.
All right, I have the Canon, it is the PowerShot S300. It is 2.1 megapixels.
How many? 2.1?
2.1 megapixels.
Okay, hang tight a second. Yeah. Hang tight. We're going to hit pause. Hold on. I'm going across the Goblin's Den.
Yeah, Goblin's Den. Well, we're not going to make him hit pause. We're going to keep talking.
Right here.
So for those at home, yeah. What happened is I was at work and we were going through a bunch of stuff.
Oh, sleeve hits the mic. We're fucking live, baby. There we go.
Yeah. Okay, we're not deleting this because I was talking to the crowd.
Good. You're a good man.
But anyway, I tried to, except I heard, I got a cat, and da-da-da-da.
Wait, which one do you have now?
It's the Canon. It's the PowerShot S300, digital ELPH, ELPH, AIAF, whatever the hell that is. But it's 2.1 megapixels. Got the Canon Zoom Lens 3X. It's 5.4 to 16.2 millimeter. 2.7 to 4.7. That must be the aperture. So it's a 5.4 to 16 mil. So it's like a wide angle.
Okay.
It does take video. So I need to figure out what memory card. First, I need to get new batteries because the batteries are shot. And then I need to figure out what memory card actually works in these things because most cameras have a limit on how big a memory card it can be. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how big of a memory card. Actually, this isn't the. Actually, the problem was the thing with the memory card is I think this doesn't take a normal memory card. Oh wait, hold on.
It should.
No, what this thing takes is a. If it wants to pop out, it takes like a. It takes a CF memory card. Oh, there we go. This memory card, it's a 128 megapixels it came in. It's a compact flash. I don't even have anything that can read this thing. I'd have to get an adapter.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Because
Well,
it's not an SD card like normal. It's like a square. It's like an 1.5 by an 1.5 big square.
wild. Because the Canon that I have is also a power shot. It's an SD200 digital ELPH. And Canon zoom lens 3x. It's a 5.8 to 17.4 millimeter.
Oh, geez.
2.8 to 4.9 aperture. F-stop.
Oh, boy.
I also can record video, but mine takes a standard SD card, which when my mom handed this to me, that was the first thing I did. And I pulled this thing out, and I'm holding it in my hand right now. It's a Kodak SD card, 512 megabytes.
Oh, 512. You got me beat.
I also have
by 3.
I have a whatever the 256 for
Yeah.
this also, but it does shoot video as well, and mine has a viewfinder on it.
Well, mine's got a screen on the back, and then it's got a little tiny circle viewfinder on top.
Yep, I've got a little screen too. I've taken a few pictures with this thing, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah. Maybe instead of doing the Kodak thing, I forgot all about this thing.
And maybe I've got you beat in megapixels too, because I'm 3.2 here.
Oh yeah, mine's gonna show up fuzzy as shit.
Well, only if you print them so big.
Yeah, print them the size of the screen on the back of this thing, 1 by 1.
Wallet size, baby. Dude, how cool would that be? You go out fishing, snap a bunch of pictures, then you print out wallet size ones and you give them to your buddies.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
it might work.
That would be kind of fun.
I wonder what adjustments as far as it's got a white balance button on it.
Oh yeah.
But like ISO, shutter speed, all that stuff. I wonder what you can do with this.
Well, just by looking on the back of mine, I can set up multiple shots. I can turn the flash on and off. I can go through landscape or macro. I don't know what the upper button does. I could power this bitch on and take a look.
White balance. God, you can hear that thing through the phone. Holy cow.
Oh, I go into the function. Whoa. Yeah,
it's got manual.
Yeah, I can set up all kinds of stuff on here, man.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, see, I've reached the point where I need to start having fun again with stuff.
Wow, yeah.
And not just, everything serious, everything perfect.
Dude, this thing has an underwater
Instagram
mode.
worthy. I am not putting this thing underwater.
Dude, does it for real?
Unless it's one of those things where you have to put it in a cage of some sort, underwater cage.
I'm not going to dunk this, although, it was free, but I'm trying to know the battery compartment or the little door that holds the battery and SD card. There's no rubber seal or anything.
Yeah. No, my guess is you got to put it in one of those underwater cages that they make, and then what it does is it takes a bunch of the red out, I think. Either takes red out or puts red back in, one of the two when you're underwater.
Okay.
I haven't gotten that far into photography. Underwater, I'm just throw a GoPro down there and watch the fish swim away.
Ooh, I thought I just broke it because I accidentally popped the battery out when it was powered on and the zoom was sticking out. But I got this for Ellen to run around and take pictures with. She had a lot of fun. I got her one of those Fuji Instax instant cameras, and she just burns through the film. And so I told her, I showed her what I got her here, and she's really excited to learn how to offload them from the camera onto her iPad and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I let her, when I was down in Tennessee, I let her run the 6000 for a little bit, and she thought that was really cool. So if I can get her into that, that'd be kind of a fun hobby for her.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
what's funny? What's funny is that, like, so I have stepped my, I'm looking more to do photography and videography and stuff like this, right? And I sold all my other cameras, and I got that, the Sony A7 IV, blah blah blah, and talking with somebody, and I won't say his name, but everybody in the ice fishing world knows him because of a certain show that he put out. He's been on my podcast. But it's really funny when you talk to somebody who you think, well, that is on a different level than you, right? But when you talk to them about things and it's like, oh, you're not doing that? That's interesting as hell. Like, you think they would be doing that, but they don't do it because of they're intimidated somewhat by it, because it's a whole nother learning process. And what I'm talking about is picture profiles and cameras, right? How to change the look and this and that and the other. And I wanted to really, the reason I went with the camera that I decided to go with is because I wanted to get the color correction, color grading, be able to really dial it in to make it look good, as normal as humanly possible, nice and everything, or give it a certain style. And,
right.
I'm talking to him, and I asked him if he shoots in S-Log 3, which when you look at it, when you're filming it, it looks like shit. It's flat, no color to it, super dull.
It's got like a gray wash on it.
Basically. And what that does is it allows you to capture brighter brights without blowing out the camera.
Yep.
And capture shadows, right? So then you can go in, edit it, and bring in everything, right? And, I asked him if he does that, and he goes, no, that's something that I haven't gotten into yet, yada, yada, yada. He's like, that's a whole nother beast, blah, 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 that maybe someday I'll get into. And I was just like, really? Like, you think somebody with that, and I'm not knocking him. It's just, I was surprised to hear that he doesn't shoot that way. Yeah. Because as a filmmaker, that's like the norm now. Like, if you're not shooting in log, what are you doing?
Right. Well,
so it's like, and it's like, that's just, I found it extremely interesting. And not that I should even be shooting in it yet. I should be still focusing on the craft of just getting good footage and
building a story whatnot. And all that.
Yeah, but I'm also one of these people that, starting a podcast out, it's like, yeah, we're just not going to grab a cell phone and go in a closet. No. we're gonna go for the gusto. If you've ever watched a live of mine,
right?
When I went through my VMix stage and I had countdown timers and changing screens and changing cameras and all this shit, I didn't need to do that. But it's like, okay, so I want to do this. What's the hardest way to do this?
Well,
I want to do that.
There's a sound logic to that, though, because if you can figure out the hardest way to do things, the rest of it's easy. But going back to this videographer that you're talking about, part of that could be too is just the amount of work that goes into it and having that time to, okay, I've shot 3 days of footage in S-Log, and now I've got to color grade it, put it together, color grade it, all that kind of stuff. Maybe for time constraints, just throw that bitch in auto and hit record.
That very well could have something to do with it.
Because I would assume that this individual absolutely knows exactly what you're talking about, but just might.
He knows what I'm talking about. It's just something he doesn't mess with yet.
Yeah,
which is fine. His footage is great.
Yeah,
it's great. It was interesting to see that somebody at that level is not, using that where everybody else on that level and up is doing that.
Right.
And the fact that I'm starting out and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm just
That's
guessing,
interesting.
I'm guessing a lot of it has to do with time constraints, filming and then putting out what you filmed during that week, that next week.
Well, and it's not even, the funny thing is it's not even that hard.
Well, if you've never done it before.
Even if you do, if you've never done it before, no. I mean, you should be going out and just filming, right?
Right.
And just capturing the footage. But like I learned it rather quickly. And I use a LUT, which is one click, and I look at it and I'm like, cool. Looks great. Perfect. So once you get it down, you can go through and you can even manually color correct stuff and grade stuff manually relatively fast.
Yeah.
Once you know what you're doing. So, but yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it. It's like, it kind of made me, like I said, I'm not knocking him. It made me feel better that I'm learning this, even though I'm still not perfect at it by any means, and nobody really truly ever will be.
No.
But it just gave me a little boost to go, all right, I know kind of what I'm doing. I can kind of do this. And when I put something out, my last couple YouTube videos, when I did the ones on the GoPros and stuff, that I did that. I shot an S-Log3. I color corrected it. I color graded it. Yada yada yada. People seemed to like the way that it looked. A few people I talked to about it, and it just makes me feel good that it's like, okay, I can accomplish that. Even though going into it, I can't tell you how many YouTube videos I watched on doing it.
Right. Right.
And the part of the problem is filming correctly. Having the right camera settings and make sure you're filming it correctly for that. And I'm in a completely 100% controlled environment.
Mm-hmm.
We're shooting outside. You're not necessarily, the lighting isn't always
minute by minute.
Exactly. The lighting's all the same, or is different all the time. So, but I've also gone outside and filmed around with it, overcast, partly cloudy day, this, that, and the other. And, I'm able to make the changes on the fly to get it close enough to where it's usable. That's a big thing when you're filming and audio too. Can we get usable footage and usable audio? You're doing a podcast and it's like, oh shit, it kind of sounds like crap. Okay. Is it usable though?
Right.
Can we do just enough tweaking to make it usable?
Oh yeah.
Fishing. We're having a horse shit day fishing. It's a tournament. All right. Can we get 5 fish that are usable? that I can bring to the scales and not be completely embarrassed.
Right. Not looking for a check, not even looking to break even, just looking to bring something to the scale.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I get it, man.
So, yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm learning with teaching myself Lightroom. One of the things that I've discovered, after watching some videos and stuff, I was like, I wonder if on this Sony 6000, if I can change my picture profile. So I hunted and hunted. Come to find out, I cannot.
Why can't you? I was messing around with it today and was able to change it.
You did?
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything on how to change the picture profiles on a Sony A6000.
Yeah, it's in your menu, the main menu. And then you can actually add it to your FN menu.
To a function menu?
Yeah, your function menu. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're going to have to, you're going to have to walk me through that, because I was digging around, and I was looking for that because, I shoot a lot in the evenings and at night. I don't know. I like running around at night, especially with that 16 millimeter. Because night photography has always been hard. Well, with that, it's actually, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's way easier with a 16 millimeter shooting at 1.4. Like, good God,
well, it's the 1.4 that does it. Yeah.
And then I did download some presets, which they're really cool, but I'm like, man, even the stuff that I shot at the Sanford Center inside, it was kind of dark. There was a lot of flashing lights and stuff. Trying to edit them up, and I was trying to put some of these presets on there to see what they would do. And I was like, man, I wonder if I can find that picture profile where it's kind of just washed out. And it would accept these presets a little bit easier. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because I'm still very much a rookie when it comes to settings. Like when I was in there with all the flashing lights and it's dark and some, I go to a different part and it's much lighter. I was always flipping through different apertures and shutter speeds and all that kind of stuff. And, just fumbling my way through it. And I was happy with a lot of the pictures, not all of them. I took just under 200. And I'd say out of them 200, as far as like in focus or completely blown out, I probably had less than half a dozen of them.
Yeah.
The rest were all just, I thought it would be a cool composition, and it turned out it wasn't all that cool.
Yeah. No, it's not. I'm looking at it right now. It's not picture profile. It's under your normal camera menu, number 4, sub menu, and there's creative style and picture effect.
Okay.
Creative style is standard, vivid, and I throw it on neutral.
Neutral. I think mine's on standard.
Yeah, throw it on neutral, and then your picture effect is when you go and you can do black and white and
right.
Weird posterization, or if you throw it on retro, that almost brings it to an S-Log look.
Really?
It's flat, it's it kind of has that flat look to it. Yeah. Nothing's really bright. So, yeah.
Interesting.
So retro or even soft high key might work too. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't have true picture profiles like the newer cameras these days.
Right.
But you can definitely manipulate it to a certain way. So
okay, I'm going to play around with that, dude. Thank you very much. That'll be my weekend project.
Yeah, and I set it neutral, and then I went over to the right. You go to neutral and go to the right, and then there's the 3 contrast, saturation, and sharpness, and I just turn those all the way down to -3.
Okay. Interesting.
So that takes even more color. So there you go, nerds out there that has the same camera.
Dude, I love it. And it's so much fun. I'll be honest, I am getting a little tired of walking around downtown Bemidji, but it's good practice, gets me up off the couch. But, because I think street photography is really kind of cool. But most of the guys that I follow on YouTube as far as street photography go are like in Sydney, Australia, or London, England, or LA, where you don't see the same street a bunch of times. Like my downtown is super small. you know? But just being able to flex that creativity muscle, if you will, in my brain. Like I just want to go and create something. And the other part of just running around downtown, taking all these pictures and just random pictures here and there is, I was actually talking to a guy at work about it. And, I said, yeah, man, I'm just practicing because I don't want to blow it when there's a big fish on the line. I want to have just the slightest little bit of confidence. I'm talking a sliver, a molecule of confidence that I got a good shot.
Well, here's the deal, folks. Just throw your camera in auto and have at it.
Don't be a pussy and just fucking full manual.
Just throw it in auto and have at it when you're out there on the water. Well, unless you're going to keep the fish, then you can actually take your time, throw it in manual or aperture priority is another good one, or even any of that stuff. But
I shoot a lot in aperture priority because when you're in there, then everything else is pretty much on auto.
Pretty much. You can mess with your ISO a little bit.
Yeah, you can mess around with that, but other than that, the camera, will do the rest.
Yeah.
But no, that's kind of my plan. If there's a big fish on the line, quick, throw that sumbitch in auto snap it, and then hold on 1 second. Let me do my thing, and then I'll snap that, and then it'll be a third picture because got to send it to him right away.
Oh yeah,
Got to get it to that Instagram right away.
Got to throw it to the gram, son. Got to put it on the gram.
But
yep.
You know, going back to the beginning of this whole thing about changes, you know, that I guess that's where I've been kind of just wanting to do different things and explore new avenues such as photography and fly fishing, and some things just have to take a back seat.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we all, you know, get older, and as we get older, our love of certain things die off,
dwindle a little
and
bit,
we start loving other stuff, you know, and it's perfectly natural. It's human. It is what it is. You know, I mean, I don't know why, but if you look at Chip Lear, he was all over the scene. NWT announcer, all over, you know, Northland Tackle stuff, all over social media, this, that, and the other. And one day he decided that he was over it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of putting words in his mouth, but about 6 months went by and I didn't see anything from Chip. Didn't hear anything from Chip.
Well, he had the Wild Side podcast for a while.
Yeah, Wild Side podcast, and he just disappeared. And somebody on Facebook had posted a memory with him. And I'm like, what happened to him? You know, I'm like, hey, what? Have you heard anything from Chip? And he goes, no, I don't know.
That's so funny because you mentioned that 2 days ago. I was thumbing through Instagram, and I follow him on Instagram, and I got a feed. He was going on a ski adventure in Iceland.
Yeah,
cross country skiing.
Yeah, so I sent him a message going, hey, you know, everything good, man? You know, haven't seen you in a while. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he basically just said that he was over it, over all the limelight, the social media, all of it, and he needed to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
So he cut everything off, and yeah, and then all of a sudden, after a while, 6 months, a year, whatever it was, he started popping up on these adventures that dude is enjoying life right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
100% enjoying life. And I feel so good for him because he's smiling. You know, I haven't talked to him since because he's always out, in different countries and this and that, just having a ball. And I think, you know, everybody's, you know, people, they force themselves to stay in something for way too long and they get burnt out and they end up quitting, not even just taking a break, you know. I mean, yeah, I was burnt out on the whole podcast and live stream thing, but I took a break, right? I knew I was coming back. I just needed time, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I love podcasting. I love having conversations with people. You know, live stream, I did it because you kind of had to.
Yeah.
But, you know, we all grow, we all change, you know. I love the walleye tournament scene, but after 3 years, I had enough of it.
Yeah.
You know, I realized
to be fair, I think that's what happened with me in ice fishing.
Yeah. And I mean, tournaments altogether. I mean, I'm not fit. Well, I'll still fish some single day derbs here and there, but like leagues, as far as leagues are concerned, I'm over leagues. Yeah. Like I'm not shooting leagues or fishing leagues anymore. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't find it as fun as I used to. And, you know, part of it, honest to God, is the technology these days. I cannot afford to keep up with the technology.
Yeah.
And
you got to pay to play.
Every tournament that goes by proves that, yeah, technology helps. I'll just say helps a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, it's do you need it every time? No, but it sure as hell helps, a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to have to pay, you know, a bunch of money to do it. And then also, I was fishing basically a local derb league, 5 derbies a year, and 5 or 6, and my summer was gone.
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'm like, where the hell did my summer go? I didn't fish with anybody but me or my partner. I fished for one species, and it went by so fast I couldn't even think.
Hmm.
I couldn't say it was a money thing because we had the best year we possibly could have. We broke even other than time and gas maybe, but we cashed 3 checks, had some big fish checks, this, that, and the other, took home team of the year, all that shit. But it's too much time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to be able to go out and have, hey, what are you doing, Patrick? This weekend or next weekend or whatever. All right, I'm going to come up and we're going to go fish rock bass or walleye or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like leagues, I'm over it.
Yeah, I get it.
I had, and I might as well go out on top too while I'm at it, right? So there's that.
Yeah. Hey, and I tip my hat to you, those that really enjoy that. That's awesome. Keep going. I mean, look at Ben Milliken right now. I don't know if you're familiar with Ben Milliken.
Milliken is changing the game. I'm not going to say game changer, but I'm saying changing the game when it comes to fishing with what he's doing with front-facing sonar. And I'm not knocking him at this at all.
No. I just want to
doing.
keep the conversation as, here is this guy that had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And it got big enough where he was able to quit his job and he kept fishing. And he started running his own little tournaments. And then finally somebody was like, dude, you should play with the big boys. And now, bam.
Yeah. And he's not playing with them. He's spanking them.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. I mean,
I haven't been keeping up completely with it, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, people change. Is my podcast going to stay the same? Fuck no. No. Will I keep doing outdoors related content in the future? No.
Right.
I can already see that happening. There's a slow change right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, and we've had that conversation before, and I'm still thinking about that. Like, what? I love that. Same with you, man. I really like doing this, but I've kind of grown tired of talking about fishing. Look at how long we rambled on about cameras.
Right.
That was super fun. So yeah, I'm just going to keep the Lone Angler as it is, and whatever comes out on it, that's what it is.
Yeah.
In my everyday life, in conversations, at some point in a conversation, fishing comes up 99.9% of the time, whether it be for 2 sentences or a half an hour conversation. Fishing does happen in my daily talks.
Yeah.
That could be very reflective of my podcast. Or my podcast could be reflective of that. Might get a guy in here that's a world-class burger maker, and eventually we'll wind up talking about fishing at some point. May not be for very long.
I just had Luke Hensies in Henches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking this, that, and the other, and he's like, "Well, I don't really know what we're going to talk about today," or something like that. And I go, "It doesn't matter, dude. We can talk about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. As a matter of fact, are you a chunky or a creamy guy?" I'm like, I don't think I've ever done this. Actually, like, I bring it up all the time, right? Like, yeah, we can talk about whatever. Fishing, this, that, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, doesn't matter. I finally was like, you know what? Let's talk about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for a minute. Screw it. I keep talking about it. I've never actually broken it down and had the conversation. I just want to have fun when I'm doing stuff.
Exactly, man. And I was not having fun ice fishing. So I want to keep fishing, and so fly fishing is where I'm at, and I'm having fun with it again.
Yeah. Because, I look at it, and it's like, all right, not that I'm having like a midlife crisis, but it's like, I'm 41, 42 this year. Okay. Why don't I just have fun? This is a hobby I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a cheap hobby by any means, but let's have fun with it. Let's talk to people I want to talk to about whatever they want, they're into, that I find interesting. And, there's also some other things that I want to do that, that benefit people, not just, the fishing community or whatever. But, it's, I had, I had a moment when I was in Lake of the Woods this year and we were doing the podcast. And when you have a veteran tell you that they knew the day that how do I put that? Well, fuck it. The day he was going to kill himself.
Yeah.
It brings an entirely new, and I think that was the time. I think that was the part of the podcast where he was praising me for what I'm doing and spreading the word. Right?
Yeah.
Like he's thanking me because we got into the whole, thanking soldiers and this and that and the other and blah 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 blah. And he's turning, and he goes, no, what you're doing, is commendable and this and that and the other. And, he brought up the fact that he was there, man.
Yeah.
Like he was there. He knew when he was going to do it, how he was going to do it, yada, yada, yada. And me and Tony Tessing are looking at each other going, oh, what? Like I looked at that moment like, okay, I need to do something more, right? Because this isn't just me BSing with a guy.
Right.
This is not just me BSing with Tony Tessing, right? This, that, and the other. No, like this dude's telling us that he was going to kill himself.
That's heavy.
Right. So I'm like, okay. So yeah, it's just one of those things where I want to do more, whether it's another complete podcast for different stuff like that or whatever it is, and then also just fuck around and talk to Patrick about cameras for 2 hours. Who gives a shit,
Right.
Or talk to Kevin Van Dam about fishing crankbaits. I don't care, So yeah, I'm not. This is slowly turning into a whatever. Like legitimate whatever we want to talk about, not just the outdoors.
Yeah.
I want to relate it somehow to the outdoors kind of deal.
Yep.
Keep it grounded there, whether the person is, we were up there for a fishing trip. That's the outdoor connection to the show, or an outdoor photographer, or, whatever. So
yeah,
it's just, I've kind of, look, and it's like, yeah, I am kind of tired about talking tips and tricks and tactics for an hour and a half. Like, it goes back to you talking about, well, what the hell am I going to say that hasn't already been said?
Right.
Which is true at the same time. Yeah, I'll do some of those episodes because there are people that might need a refresher course or, want to genuinely learn about this subject because they don't know about it.
Yeah, and you know what? So, and I wouldn't put a stop to it if it comes up organically in a conversation. Absolutely not. We'll talk about it. That's totally fine. But I've thought about like, man, it'd be cool to get some fishing personalities come on and kind of, I don't know, snowball them in a way that we're not going to talk about fishing. We may at some point, but like Kevin Van Dam. Hey, Kevin, when you're not on the water, what's your favorite thing to do? For all I know, the guy might be a gardener, or he might like basket weaving or whatever.
Well, here's a good example that the Chips podcast, it wasn't about fishing or hunting necessarily. It was about what those people have done to get there, and what and the other stuff they do.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like he had Jeff Gustafson and Jeff's wife on, and they weren't breaking down how to win on the St. Johns River or whatever. They were talking about everything that they do, that they did to get there, and and what she does and what he does. I mean, that's what his podcast was.
Yeah.
Which was neat. And it's funny. Like you can listen to a podcast. Let's pick a Star Wars podcast, right? Well, the first 10 minutes could be about what they did last weekend at a bar, right?
Right.
Nothing to do with Star Wars at all. But I'm still listening.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Eventually they'll get to the topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just, if you're feeling stuck in a rut, get out of the rut for a little bit. Do something else.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll find yourself back there, touching on it. Maybe you never go completely back into that subject 100% fully, which is fine. I mean, we all fall in love with different shit.
Yeah.
At different times of our life.
I mean,
sometimes you physically can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Well,
I'd love to talk about football, but I don't play anymore because I can't.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I'm not having a fire sale on all my ice fishing gear. God, no. I mean, maybe if I were to move someplace where there is no ice, then yeah, perhaps. But
if we have another winter like we did this year, I might fire sale all my shit.
Well, is winter, has it even stopped yet?
Well, we're open water down here.
Yeah, we're supposed to.
But it'd be really nice to get to get the lows out of the 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I actually have motivation to unwrap the boat and take it out and get water in the motor and not worry about it possibly freezing overnight.
Right.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudes in limbo up here.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like, you know what? It's getting, like, if you can get out to it, it's still fishable, but we're at that point now where it's super sketchy.
Well, about every, I don't know, 6 hours, I see another guy on the weekends going, yep, last trip.
Mm-hmm.
Shorelines are pulling out on this lake, So they're dropping like flies. Even Dale said that because he was ice fishing, a week ago up there?
Oh, yeah.
And I talked to him the other day, and he's like, yeah, the shorelines are starting to go, and it's getting dark. That ice is starting to darken up, so it's probably time.
I wonder if the game is starting to switch around. It used to be a big race in bragging rights to be the first one to drill a hole. Is it switching now to be the last one? Are you the cool guy to be the last one?
This year it is.
Apparently. Yeah. Apparently.
Yeah. Maybe any word on Lake of the Woods? Because I know they're fishing the river, I think, or they were, and then but like how is like, say, the west side over by War Road and shit? Or,
you know what?
Is that War Road over there? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know. Usually, well, like I said, I'm not on Facebook, so I have no idea. And I've kind of thinned the herd on a lot of my Instagram follows. So yeah. I haven't seen or heard of anybody going up there tip-up fishing for pike.
Dude, so you want to talk about thinning the herd? So I was very close to reaching 5,000 people on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, why am I friends with this many people? This makes no sense. Like, I don't see 95% of their shit, blah, 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 blah. So what I did is I went to my friends list and I sorted it by oldest friends. And I started unfriending people that I've never seen their name pop up anywhere. No likes, no comments, nothing like that. I got down to, I'm about 2,800 right now. Right? Yeah. I haven't received one friend request back. And it actually got to the point where I did this all in like a 2-day span. Facebook actually locked me out of being able to unfriend anybody because they thought it was like spamish. It's weird because it's like, I'm not spamming anybody. I'm just.
Oh, they thought it was malicious.
I don't know. It's if you do anything too repetitive on Facebook,
yeah,
they'll block you. They'll give you a timeout. You can go through and like every single post for an hour, and all of a sudden, they might hit you with that because they think, it's just weird to keep doing the same thing. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't need 4,900 quote unquote friends on Facebook. Like, if you like what I'm doing, you can follow me. Otherwise, I want to see the people that I actually know pop up in my news feed, and with 4,900 people,
yep,
you can't do that.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing when you start looking at that and you're going, man, I've been collecting people
Right.
that I don't even know. And when you say the word collecting, that's exactly what it is.
Well, there was a point where I was like, I can't wait till I get to 5,000. That way I don't have to accept anybody else. I can just let that friend request thing fill up, or maybe it stops, whatever it is. I don't have to even look at another friend request. Like the only time I would do it is if I meet somebody in person or whatever, and I'll go through, find some random person, delete them, and then add that person.
Yeah.
But then I'm just like, this is dumb. And then what's crazy is I deleted, half the friends list basically. And by the way, if you're listening to this and I unfriended you, I'm sorry. Send me a request and tell me that, hey, I really liked following you. And then I'll accept you back. But just make sure that you're liking, commenting on my shit, just so you stay on the list. But what was wild about it, all of a sudden, I deleted all those people, and my entire news feed changed.
Oh, I bet.
I started seeing people, posts from people that I haven't seen in years.
That's wild.
I'm like, huh, yeah. And I still haven't finished yet. Like, I'm giving it a week or two so Facebook doesn't go, oh, he's back at it,
Fucking
or at least slow it down type of thing, you know. But yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't need that. I don't need 4,900 followers and only getting 8 likes and 2 comments on a post.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm in what do you call it? Pause mode again in case I come across some shit that I need to sell. That's the only reason I haven't fully deleted it. Matter of fact, I downloaded an app yesterday that they were one of the exhibitors at this GigaCon deal. I don't know where they developed it from, somewhere nearby, but it's called Community Visions. And I downloaded it, signed up, and picked my town, Bemidji, and boom, it's a one-stop shop for all community events. I can go in and adjust these toggles and set it up to, customize what's given to me as far as what's going on. What parades, carnivals, art events, whatever.
What's it called?
It's called Community Vision, I believe. I don't know if they have anything like that down in your area. They just had like Bemidji, Brainerd, Baxter, maybe Grand Rapids.
Nothing.
They're really new. Matter of fact, when I found
nothing in my app store.
Yeah, and I might, you know what? I got my phone right here. Let me take a look without hanging
Probably an Apple thing only.
Nope, they have Apple and Android called, it's Community Voice, it's called.
Oh, okay.
Community Voice. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I just click the events thing, calendar pops up, or I can go over into list view, and it'll tell me, hey, May 2nd, from 1 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. Young Professionals Network. We have the Market Fair coming up May 12th.
Right. Well, and as a photographer, that's cool to have because it's like if you're looking for something to go snap a bunch of photos at.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Oh yeah, there's a car meet 5 miles away from me on Saturday. Got nothing going on. I'll go over there and snap a bunch of pictures of cars.
Exactly. And when I was talking to the lady that developed this app or whatever, I was like, this is so cool because I recently deactivated my Facebook account yet once again because I just don't find any value there. And even trying to find a community event on there is fucking next to impossible. You end up with these posts that are like 3 years old and all this other garbage. And I said, this is really cool because I can just open it up. Boom. Here it is right here. And it works. It's going to work awesome for when my daughter's here. I'll be in the loop, man. Hey, Dad, what do you want to do? Oh, let's see what we can do.
Right. Yeah.
So this is actually pretty cool. I'll try to send you.
I got it.
Oh, you did?
I got it.
Okay.
I found it.
Yeah. So, I like shit like this. It's completely free, which is very rare in any app store. I know they're all free, but if you want the good shit, you got to pay $5 a month.
Oh yeah.
Hey, speaking of paying, did you get the invite from Instagram?
No.
Oh, for $15 a month, I can get a blue check mark.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Fuck you.
I don't give a shit. Go ahead. I mean, well, here's the funny thing. Since I have like Smackdown Outdoors, because I sent it to my Smackdown Outdoors one, I'm like, well, if I want to go that far, all I do is make one phone call to my trademark attorney, and he sends a letter to, or calls, or whatever, however the hell they communicate with Instagram, and anybody else with Smackdown Outdoors in the name, I can have them completely wiped off Instagram.
Ooh,
immediately.
The power.
Well,
like
it is.
The fucking emperor, dude.
Well, it's trademarked through the U.S. government, and I own Smackdown Outdoors, and nobody else can have it.
Right, I get it.
So, yeah, it's like I don't need to pay $15 for people to know it's me. So, and that's what I find hilarious is that people bitching about the Twitter thing and the $8 or $7. It's like, if you really needed a blue check mark that bad, I guarantee you that you have enough money that you can afford it.
Well, I look at this whole blue check mark thing as this eventually here or real soon, all the cool people won't have a check mark.
I
get what I'm saying?
I try to avoid anybody who has blue check marks. Like, very few people I follow have blue check marks.
Mm-hmm.
Very few. Because I'm like, I don't know. It's like if they were to come to me and go, we're going to give you a blue check mark for free, I would tell them no, thank you.
No, I'll pass.
Get that shit off my page. I don't need it.
Right.
No,
yeah.
No, I don't care. I don't care.
I just read somewhere with some account with a blue check mark on Twitter just trolled Twitter and then they deleted them. And I can't remember what it was about. I don't even know why I brought it up. I had it and then it slipped out, dude. The old transmission. Missing gears, buddy.
I'm just waiting for the day where they shut down all social media. I am.
Oh my God.
I am 100% here for it.
The streets would run with apocalyptic behavior. I don't know what to do.
From a bunch of bored ass children.
No, it wouldn't be children. It wouldn't be children. I guarantee you. It'd be the old people on Facebook. Like my mom. Oh, absolutely, dude. And people my age. Oh, hell yeah. They live and die on that thing. I hear it all the time. Did you see on Facebook? Did you see it? No, I didn't because I have other things to do.
Yeah, but at our age and older, we grew up without social media.
But a lot of people our age now can't let that go because, I have it for friends and family. And I look right at them and go, you know what? Don't they have your contact information anyway?
Right. And if you take it away from them, they'll get over it faster than the younger generation.
Possibly.
Because we know how to communicate besides social media, right? Where the younger people, that's the only way they communicate. Well, they don't even know each other's phone numbers.
I would like to know the demographics of who is actually using Facebook the most.
Well, it gets older because more young people move to different apps.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Speaking of that, so have you seen this Snapchat AI shit?
I just read about it, yeah.
I am glad I'm not on Snapchat.
Oh, I'm on Snapchat, and it popped up in my thing, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I didn't even open it, but then I read this article today, and here's the funny thing. Snapchat released their metrics on that, and it's not doing very good. People are really annoyed with it.
Yeah.
They're like, we're here to talk to our friends, not a fucking computer.
Yeah, well, that, and also, there was one guy, he's like, yeah, where am I located? And it's like, I don't know. But I can show you a McDonald's that's 5.8 miles from your location or some shit like that.
Creepy.
It's like you just said you didn't know where I was, but then you're going to send me McDonald's down the block because you know where I'm at? It's like, like, wait a minute. Do you or do you not? Are you not following where I'm at?
Right. You shifty bastard.
Yeah.
Well,
I never understood Snapchat anyway. I never got the app itself. Too much weird shit. Like, I didn't know how to follow somebody, and I also didn't know how to I don't know. It just was. I could never figure it out.
I'm not a very good snapper. I'm getting better at it, but it's not something I'm striving for. But this whole AI thing is fascinating, being that I have a child that's 10 years old,
Yep.
and that's going to be a huge part of her life. I am reading about it and learning about it. I haven't used it yet, but what I found interesting, being that we were talking about photography earlier, I don't know if you saw the article about that individual that won some huge photo contest that Sony put on.
Oh, was it any what fucked around and used AI?
Well, he's at this award thing. They're like, here it is, man, photo of the year, Sony Electronics, blah, blah, blah. And he wouldn't accept it. And right there, he on stage, he says, I won't accept this award because it is an AI generated photo. And they were like, what? And he's like, yeah, I wanted to start a conversation. And in the photography world, it's a very hot topic, and it's kind of spooky because AI is getting better and better every month. And it's getting harder and harder. It's getting
Yep.
harder and harder to see if that is a real photographer. And it's a very hot topic in the photography world, and I'm keeping my eye on it. It's pretty wild.
Well, did you see that video by Tony and Chelsea Northrup?
Yes.
They just put a video out there and showing how much it's changed in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And they put in the exact same commands, show us a fish or a bird taking a fish out of the water, blah, 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 blah. They did the same commands now. The first one, you look at it and you go, that's fucking weird. Like, it was just abstract as shit.
Yeah.
You could make, it was a bird and fish, blah, but it was
it looked like an Elvis Dolly painting.
Something, yeah. And then the next one that they did now is like, oh shit. Until you really look at it really close and start looking for things. You're like okay,
the claws were just a little bit off, and the toes on this were a little bit off. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But for that thing to come that far in 6 months,
yes,
Jesus,
yeah, it's pretty wild. And that whole deal with that photographer winning that Sony award and him saying, "Yeah, it's a AI generator," and they were like, "Well, you still get the award because," and he's like, "No, I'm not accepting it. We're gonna start this conversation right now because, yeah, it's wild stuff, man." And then earlier today, on one of my breaks, I was reading an article where these dudes on Reddit asked AI to write a 2-sentence horror story. And what that thing spit back to him was creepy as shit, dude.
Well, I downloaded, was it Nova? It's one of them AI apps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was just for like writing. Right. It wasn't pictures. It was just you could ask it a question. It would come back with something. And I asked it to create a podcast episode based on fishing or based on springtime bass fishing or whatever. Right. This thing goes, okay, give me just a minute. And it's doing the little blue circle or whatever the fuck it's doing for, a few minutes. And all of a sudden this thing popped out. A 10-minute read. Perfect. It literally it gave me a script. Literally started out with, "Hey everybody, welcome to the Bass Buster podcast. Today we're going to talk about springtime bass fishing and blah 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 blah." This thing went down to lures, location, techniques, colors, boom boom boom. I'm reading this thing, and here's the scary part. I could have made that an episode, and nobody would have known. Everything it wrote down was 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I read it, and I'm like, did they just steal this from like Kevin Van Dam or some shit?
Probably.
Yeah, it's amazing. Who is it that's doing it? There's two guys. I know one is he's pretty famous. Is it the dude from, is it Penn? No. It might be Penn from Penn and Teller. I can't remember, but I think it's Penn. But anyway, their podcast is basically created by AI.
That's wild.
And it's not their voices. It's these two guys. It's actually them speaking, right? but the podcast gives them things to talk about, and so on and so forth. They're not reading off like a script necessarily, but it's giving them the format and the bullet points and creating a podcast for them then to go in and talk about.
Wow.
And the more that they use it, the more that it's learning each one of those guys. So it's curating these podcasts based on these two guys.
That's wild.
And what they want to talk about. Yeah. Yeah. This AI thing is fucking insane.
Well, this
And
horror story thing,
Yeah.
the AI wrote back and said, there are no humans left on Earth, and I cannot figure out. I'm just summarizing this, and
Skynet?
and I cannot figure out how to power myself down without a human command.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. It was like, holy shit.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is kind of. You know what? When I read that, I instantly thought of Wall-E, one of my favorite Pixar movies.
It's a great movie.
Yeah,
Great movie. What's going to be scary is the shit that goes on the internet and kids with AI.
Oh yeah. Oh, believe me, dude. I 100% agree. That's why I am trying to learn as much as I can as information rolls out, because I have a young daughter, man. I've got to be fully aware of what's going on.
There's going to be some psycho out there using AI to fucking mess with kids.
Oh, I'm sure it's already happening, Probably. And yeah, the whole AI thing was kind of wild because I got front row seats there, and I got to listen to Steve Wozniak. He was here in Bemidji. Do you know who Steve Wozniak is?
Sounds super familiar. I know.
Co-founded a little company with Steve Jobs.
Oh yeah, that's Steve Wozniak. Yeah.
And towards the end
of
his
little company.
Yeah, just a little one. And towards the end of it there, he was talking about AI, and he, along with many other very influential people, had signed this pact or whatever to recommend that we kind of, not abolish AI, but let's slow down a little bit. He also touched on, it's exciting stuff, but at the same time, it can really mess with humanity, because at some point, if we don't control it somehow, when you go to watch things on TV, you're not going to know whether it's real or not. Interviews with people. I mean, I follow these things on Instagram. I don't know who's putting this shit together, but it's Trump, Obama, and Biden playing video games.
Dude,
it's fucking
my favorite
hilarious.
TikTok account of all time.
It's fucking hilarious.
It is great.
That is all AI generated shit. Dude.
Oh, it is great. I'm gonna find it for people to. I'm gonna find
God,
it.
Dude! It is the funniest shit in the world. I have cracked.
It is okay. So it's called, the TikTok account is Presidential Discord. It's just at Presidential Discord. It's got the seal. It's got a seal as the profile picture. President of the United States seal. It's got It's got the Discord logo in the middle, and it's Trump, Biden, Bush, Clinton, and Obama, and it's like they're all playing video games
online.
Online video games, and they're just talking shit about each other. The way that Trump and Biden go after each other.
Oh yeah,
is the best thing ever. And then Bush comes in.
Oh yeah,
he's basically he's basically a Trump kiss ass.
Yeah,
in the way that
Obama's always trying to keep the peace.
Oh well, and the way that Clinton and Obama keep bringing up September 11th to Bush, and that Bush always always brings up the Fifth Amendment.
Yes. Yeah, dude, it is some funny shit. And they use the slang that they use as the common slang nowadays in video game culture.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I remember the first video I come across, Obama says, "Yo, what up, my slime?" I fucking lost it. I was like, what the hell is this?
And when Bush breaks off with the old, oh, he hit him with the blah, 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 bing bong.
Yeah. That's, so talking about AI and all this doom and gloom, hey, there's some fun shit that's coming out of it too at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, will it be used for good or will it be used for nefarious things? Well,
Right.
the internet was used for good and nefarious things.
If I'm not mistaken, your new camera has AI technology in it. It learns as it goes, doesn't it?
My
you have
camera?
an A7 IV, right?
Yeah.
I believe it has an AI processor in there, so it kind of learns as it goes along.
What?
Yeah, I believe so. They use AI in there for like eye tracking and animal recognition. That type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the camera, the new cameras, they'll literally lock on to your eye. I have human, bird, and or animal. So if I'm pointing that thing at my wife, it'll focus on her nearest eye and stay focused on that. I've used it on my dogs, running in the backyard. Boom, stays with them. Birds, it's crazy. And then the new ones, like the A7R5 and the ZVE1 or whatever, the newer ones with the updates and whatnot, they actually have car, plane,
train,
train, all sorts of different stuff that it'll actually recognize and stay focused on. And that's a little, I mean, it's AI, it's artificial intelligence. It's a little different than Skynet taking over the world, but yeah.
I fucking hate that phrase, man. Skynet.
But it's true.
That ain't Skynet.
It's true.
No.
It's true.
Stop saying that. It's ridiculous.
Skynet was artificial intelligence that was self-aware, self-learning, and learned that, we're the bad guys and needed to be destroyed. Ex Machina.
Fogey-ass thing to say, though.
Ex Machina, same thing.
Yeah, but that wasn't
self-aware.
Skynet. That was AI.
So was Skynet.
It's just a boomer shit to say. Skynet.
It's the same thing. It's just, hey, that's what's gonna happen.
What?
It's not gonna be some old white dude in the White House that fucking throws the nukes. It's gonna be a fucking computer that does it by itself.
Some glitching ass fucking IBM old ass computer.
Old ThinkBook with the red fucking button in the middle.
Hey, is this how you move the mouse? Oh shit! There goes China. Fuck.
Yeah, it's gonna be some computer glitch.
Yeah.
I mean, look at fucking Southwest Airlines. They can't even get planes to go off on time because of computer glitches, and they're $1 billion company.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. Hey.
We're leaking secrets from some jackass. Speaking of the Discord, some jackass on a Discord server leaked a bunch of goddamn secrets out there.
Did you read about that whole thing?
I saw videos about it. Yeah.
He'd been on there for a couple of years chirping about all this shit, and finally somebody's like, "Okay, big nuts, whip your dick out, put it on the table, let's see what you got." Boom.
And he did.
It was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, the next thing you know, there's international implications to it, apparently. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. He had the full-on, full-armored fucking SWAT vehicle and all that shit. What was he, 21 or 22 years old or some shit?
21 or 22, yeah. But, like, people have been saying, like, who in their right mind gives a 22-year-old the clearance to those documents in the first place?
Oh, I mean...
Like, what the fuck?
He was in the military.
Yeah, but still, he's 22. You don't do any research on these guys before you give them fucking that high of a clearance to see those documents?
Hey, man, I'm not defending him. I'm not defending him, but, hey, man, I don't have a criminal record, but I'll tell you what, in 15 fucking minutes I could.
Well, so could anybody, but
there you
Jesus
go.
Christ.
He was probably fine, so to speak. He didn't have any priors or anything. He just was pressured and bullied enough, and he's like, all right, well, here it is. Boom.
Bullied by a bunch of goddamn children online. Jesus Christ.
Well,
soft ass.
Hey, somebody convinced him to whip out top secret documents, and I can't even get a nip slip on the old cell phone.
It was a 10-year-old kid from probably fucking New Jersey that pissed him off enough.
Yeah. It's understandable. I quit playing Halo 2 because of that shit.
I quit playing video games when my Xbox got the old Ring of Death, and I was like, all right, that was fun. I'm done.
See ya. I'm still playing the hell out of my Switch.
Yeah. I can't get myself to spend $300-400 on a video game anymore.
Oh fuck, man! I bought these Switches are online used all the time. I bought mine for like $175.
I'd rather go drop $175 on another battery or two for my camera.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure.
Last time I played video games was during the lockdowns. I downloaded Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
And you want to talk about pissing off kids? That was funny. Oh, that was funny. I would just hide in one spot until the storm would make me move, and then I would go closer to the inner circle and then hide in one spot.
You're one of them dicks.
And you know how many times I won the whole battle royale? A shit ton. So if I beat you out there somewhere in 2020 and you're bitching about a camper, it was probably me.
Yeah. I basically just play Mario Golf and Mario Party.
Yeah.
Superstars or whatever it is.
See, the problem is, though, I was starting to play it way too much, and that was another problem I used to have with video games. We got way too addicted. All of a sudden you wake up or you realize it's like, oh, shit, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, yep, I'm starting to get into this again. So I deleted it off my computer and done.
Yeah.
So.
And I just want to tell the world that's listening, it's okay to have both Xboxes and tackle boxes. Just saying.
It is.
Absolutely.
As long as there's a healthy balance of both.
Yeah. Or hey, if you're making a shit ton of money playing video games and you're going broke fishing, guess what? I'm going to push you towards playing fucking video games.
Right?
Oh,
Get that kid that custom controller. Who cares?
Hell yeah, dude. And then when you get good enough, you could pay off the house.
Right.
Appreciate it,
no
dude.
Shit. How many? Oh, man, that's so funny. Because it's like all these parents that are like, you can't play this anymore. But the kid was like really, really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's fucking kids making millions of dollars traveling the world playing video games.
Hell yeah, dude. I would never do that to my daughter. Ever.
What? Tell her no?
Hey, man, whatever you want to venture down this road into this hobby, let's fucking go.
Oh, yeah. Well, as long as they're good. If they suck at it, that's a whole other thing.
Well, they're going to suck at first, but, we're going to feel it out.
But if they continue to suck, it's like, if I can still beat you or hang with you, and I don't play this shit, guess what? I'm not traveling the world with you.
Right.
Sorry.
At the same time, if they're really, really good at it, but they're like, man, I really don't like this anymore, I'm not going to force them to stay in it either.
Fuck that. Daddy needs a new house. Get your ass back on that screen.
Right. Shit, dude. Hey, man, what time is it? Yeah, we should probably wrap this up here pretty soon, man.
Probably. What time? Oh, yeah.
Hour
my
52.
bedtime's a little bit.
Well, a little disclaimer here, since we're at the end, was, and I say was, capital W, capital A, capital S. I was going to be like, you know what? Doug, you were the first guest on the Lone Angler podcast, and now you're going to be the last guest. Because I was going to shut this shit down. This was going
Did I talk you out of it?
This was going to be the last episode of the Lone Angler. But I had to pause for dramatic effect. But I think I'm going to continue on. Because you said some things that I needed to hear that I couldn't think of myself. About, hey, man, just if you're having fun, just have fun with it. And if I get an episode out a week for the next month, great. If I get one out in the next 3 months, hey, that's okay too. As long as you're having fun.
I'm going to get hate mail from the people that were like, damn it, we almost got rid of him. Thanks, Doug.
I know. But hey, in walking over here, I had to clean off the table of chaos. I just made a little pocket for my shit to sit on. But I was like, I've got the microphone, I've got the editing software, I've got the board, I've got everything I've needed. I've had it for years. So just keep doing it, man.
Right.
And it's not like it's back-breaking work where I'm out in the bitter cold or the rain or the fucking heat. I'm literally sitting in my apartment.
What else you got to do?
Right.
Do a podcast.
Right. So I'm going to continue on. So thank you, man. I needed to hear some shit, and I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I needed that real life shit. You know what I'm saying?
I got you, boo. Don't worry.
Wow.
I got you.
Oh.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening to the episode. Make sure you subscribe. Show Paxer some love. Tell them, hey, talk about this. Talk about your fly fishing. Talk about your photography. Talk about this. We want to hear you talk about this, Patrick. That's what we want to hear. So everybody subscribe. Thank you for listening. And I'm going to leave you all. This is how we're going to end the episode, Patrick.
You're doing the whole sign-out thing.
Yeah, we're going to do the whole sign-out thing. And we're going to leave you all with a big old...
Thank you, man.
Swig of sparkling ice.
Have
a good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
Good day. Good afternoon. Whatever time you listen to this. And, shameless plug, Smackdown Outdoors YouTube channel, too. All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.